Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And can everybody share their screen? It looks like I can. So,
Doug, I just made you a co-host in case I get kicked out.
okay.
Due to the timing, we should probably begin.
Okay, well, since we don't have a chair selected yet, we probably should do that first. Clovis, did you give more consideration to my suggestion, my nomination of you?
My honest answer should be the extent to which I did give it more consideration, looking at all the documents that were sent to us. I am still very strongly reluctant to try to take a leadership position on this ad hoc committee, and that it looks like the time commitment is going to be a little difficult. Just reading through all the documents took a lot of time.
Okay. Is there anybody else who wants to be chair? So I'm willing to do what? I'm willing to do it, but I wanted to make sure we had an opportunity for new commissioners to step up. And so
Commissioner Harvey? Or Commissioner?
No, I actually can't. I just have, I'd like to be able to put my all into it. I'm going to put my all into it, but like Commissioner Honore states, there's just going to be so much involved that somebody, I wouldn't be able to take that task on.
Okay, understandable. Commissioner Aziz?
No, thank you.
That was a strong no, thank you.
And we have been joined by Commissioner Rubio.
Perfect. I will note that she's here.
And shall we offer her the chairpersonship as well?
Commissioner Rubio, would you like to be chair of this committee?
Sorry for being late to the meeting, everyone. Thank you very much for being here today. Once again, I apologize. Can I get a brief summary of what it would entail?
Commissioner Case, can you provide us with a summary?
Yeah, well, we have a list of, let me see how long that list is, of 16 different operating procedures that we are required to review and submit to the city council. Some of those will require a meet and confer before the city council is able to approve them. I don't have the exact number, but I think 9 of them have already been drafted with the first draft done by our outside counsel. And so, you know, the chair will be responsible for keeping track of all of the changes or additions and making assignments to people to do different things, and you know, prioritizing them and making sure we get them done in a expeditious fashion, but giving ample time for us to review them, and they'll have to go to the full commission after we approve them. A lot of them are legalistic, and so there's not a whole lot for us to discuss. We just have to trust our general counsel knows what he's doing, which he does. But some of them, especially the ones we haven't worked on yet, are going to be things that we're going to have to discuss amongst ourselves. So.
Understood. Thank you very much, Commissioner Case. I just want to ask, for this role of chair, will I have support of legal counsel as well as other support to help with, would I be in charge of drafting these documents and presenting them to city council?
Probably presentation to the city council will be done by the chair of the commission. And so the committee will be responsible for drafting them. We will have, actually, I have an updated list, what you're putting on the screen, Charmaine.
Okay.
And I can, and we'll have staff that'll, assist as we go through things in meetings to, keep track of the revisions or suggestions we make in the meetings. And we can, amongst ourselves, or the ones that are not legalistic, we can divide amongst ourselves who wants to take the initiative on drafting them.
Commissioner Case, can you share your screen? Can you share the
Sure.
list? Thank
Let me
you.
find it. And I sent this out to the committee. Is that showing now?
Yes, if you can also email that to me so I can have that in our files.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
And so as you can see, we have a total of 16, depending upon how you count them. And the ones that have an asterisk by them, we already have a first draft that Dwayne has done, and I updated that because there were a couple that I didn't realize that Dwayne had actually done. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it looks like
Doug, we
seven of
also
them.
have, Doug, we also have a different, Charmaine, what did I call that procedure? The discipline procedure. It's not on there for some reason. I don't know. Maybe you changed it, Doug, like with SPD, Administration of Discipline Process. No, that's not it. No, there is a, Charmaine, what's it called? I did a disciplinary review.
Well, you have that one in two parts. It says evaluating and review, and then making disciplinary recommendations.
Okay, so that's both. Both.
Yeah,
that's
so
done.
it's
yeah.
two.
Oh, yeah, you haven't asked it. Yeah, both of those are done.
Yeah, and so that's why I said depending upon how you count them.
Okay, right. Both of those are done, Doug.
And so those are the list of all of the, give people a chance to take a look at it.
Can I make a recommendation? If we can put all of the ones that have the asterisk all together, like maybe at the bottom, and then put the ones
Right,
that we still have to work on at the top?
right.
Yeah,
That would be
I can
helpful.
do that for, not right now, but I can do it after the meeting.
Perfect, thank you.
And can that be sent to all of us?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
probably best to send Charmaine, have her send it out because that,
Yes.
Sounds good.
okay. So how do we want to proceed?
I have a quick question, Doug. You said you initially started off where these 16 are mandated by what?
They're mandated by the implementation ordinance,
So in the implementation ordinance, it says that these must be in there.
right?
Okay, and I want to just thank Mr. Bennett for starting these for us, because it's a lot.
It's a lot. Thank you, Commissioner. It is a lot.
Yes.
See,
Okay.
if I could help, so the ordinance, what happens is the ordinance specifies that, the commission has to have certain procedures. And what we discern from the ordinance is these are the procedures that are necessary. They say, for example, the ordinance says you may have a mediation program. You may, you don't have to, you may. So we drafted one for your consideration. You may want it, you may not want it, you might want to change it. That's there for you. But these others are required. And as you can see, the procedures that you need to have to get you going, for example, investigations, et cetera, those things are done. The complaint procedure is done. The discipline procedure is done. The Public Records Act procedure is done. I mean, these are all if you had to triage these policies or these procedures, all the ones that are essential to get you going are done.
Yeah, so I would say, well, almost, Dwayne, I think with one exception, and that is the case review. And we actually do have a draft of that I worked on, but we decided to wait until we had further discussion from the commission on how to do case review.
Right, and that's one you all are going to work on, right, Doug? So you all have to decide how you want to do that, and develop that procedure as you go.
Right. And like I said, I already did a first draft, but I didn't distribute it because we have to make some key decisions on whether we want to continue the team approach and so forth. And I figure after we've done some of the case review, like we have coming up on the 7th, the commissioners will be able to make an informed decision on what that entails.
Exactly.
Okay, that's fair. I like that.
And so
Um,
I would say that I would agree with Dwayne that my suggestion would be to take the ones that are critical, which I see as being the investigation and the investigation hearings, the case review, the complaint administration, and the review of discipline, and well, review of discipline and making disciplinary recommendations. And so those are combined. I would recommend that we try to get through those as expeditiously as possible. And again, all of them have all of those have at least a first draft. And that we send those to the city council as soon as we can, because all of those also are going to require a meet and confer. And so the sooner we can get this process started, the better off we're going to be.
Can you do me a favor? I agree with what you're saying, just on the bottom of this document, so I don't forget, and we may decide to do this, we may not decide to do this, but I believe that the commission and its operating procedures should oversee training, required training, and that should be a decision we make. And
Okay.
this is just my suggestion. I'm just saying, put it up there for discussion so we can get back to the real meat and potatoes of this, but I don't want to lose it.
Okay,
So-
I'm going to put it there as
Just
Okay.
suggestions that we can all could talk about later and what that would look like. So the commission being able to do the training, the commission being able to do, now I have a conversation. The more I'm sitting in on this meeting, the more I'm appreciating the staffing for the CPP and the folks that have been on it before, because it's not an easy task what we're doing and the work you guys have been doing. Do we want to take on all of the hiring of all new staffing? Does the commission want to do that? Is that legal to do? So can you put a question there? Do we want to do it, number one? And is it legal to do it, number two? Well, that's part of it. So the hiring of all staff.
well, the
as we
hiring,
go on.
I was going to say that the hiring of staff by ordinance is the responsibility of the executive director, with the exception of the executive director, who is hired by the city council. But the office that created the ordinance that created the office of the Commission on Police Practices specifically says that the hiring authority for all staff is the executive director. But we do have, with regard to the training, we have a training committee, and I think it's a good idea to have an operating procedure. But I would suggest that we let the training committee develop that. Likewise, we have one of the required procedures is an annual evaluation of the executive director. And I would suggest that we allow the personnel committee to draft that. And I think I saw Clovis raising his hand, or maybe he was just stretching.
I
I was
just had to
just
finish what I was, can I finish what I was saying?
Go ahead.
So training procedures, and I agree with you, when we get to the nuts and bolts of that, as far as what committee would do that, but it should be part of the operating procedure so that
I
it's
agree.
noted that we do it. I did not know that the city council selected the executive director. I thought the commissioners did. Can you put a question mark there? Because I don't know how that works and who says how that is and where ordinance it says that. I think there's a disagreement there. So I would like us to look deeper into that. I don't really have a problem with that. Well, I can see later on down the line, us getting attached to an executive director and the city council doing something political. I don't know if I'm okay with that. But, and then on the last thing I would like is you could just highlight it or something. We're not talking about that today, but I don't want to lose it in the next meeting is, I don't even know how to say this. We'll have to look at how that could be done, but we're going to talk about pitches, motions, and problematic officers. The legality of the CPP actually having its own list of issues with officers, and they're going to have a fit if they even put that on that for meet and confer. But they hide a lot of things. So how do we deal with transparency and decision making and the legality of transparency in our operating procedures? I would love to revisit that at a later time.
Okay, can you put that in 2 or 3 words? I could add it to our list here.
All I know is that San Francisco has like a list, the public defenders, of all the problematic officers that they use in court. Are we allowed to do anything nearly near that?
Well, we have the pitches motions, and maybe when we discuss that, Dwayne can delve into that a little bit more.
Sounds good.
And also with regard to the first one here is not something that is required. Like the mediation program, the ordinance says that the commission can nominate commissioners to fill vacancies. And it says that we can develop a procedure to make nominations. And I think that it makes a lot of sense to have a process for the commission to nominate people to fill vacancies rather than have the process that the city council went through. And anyways, that's why I put it on the list, because I think it would be good for us to have a process to screen and make recommendations to the city council on nominating new commissioners. But
I
that
like
probably,
the idea, but I'm afraid of that. How do we add community to that? Because if anything can happen from now until a year or 2 years, and what if the commission becomes something that we didn't want it to become? And now they have all this decision-making power, we can never get it back on track. So how do we add that, have that in there, but also have a community oversight on there also?
yeah, well, and the proposal that I was thinking about, which is similar to what we, well, I agree with you that there should be a community process or community input into that process. And this is a blank slate, so we can write whatever we want to. And I have some suggestions, and I'm sure you do too, of how we might involve the community in helping us to make those nominations. The nominations would have to be made by the commission. Although, under the ordinance, anybody can make nominations, but if the commission wants to make nominations, we have to have a process for doing that. And that's why I put it on the list. Okay, looks like Commissioner Rubio has her hand raised.
Thank you. Yes, I just wanted to ask if prior to me entering this meeting, were there any nominations or motions on the floor for chair? And then before I end my thought, I want to begin a new one. I just want to share that serving as chair for me, my capacity would only be virtual. But if there are meetings where we do have present like information, like I'm expecting like regular meetings to the commission. Is it basically what Gloria does for, Commissioner Tran does for us at our meetings that we would have to do for this? For the
Well,
chair?
I'm guessing that most of our meetings will be via Zoom, and probably you would be making presentations to the commission, and because the commission has to approve our recommendations, and so we make recommendations, the commission approves them, and you'll be presenting to the commission, and then the leadership of the CPP would then make those presentations to city council. But you'll be attending CPP meetings, and so, but I'm assuming our committee meetings will be virtual unless the committee decides otherwise.
Understood. And was there anyone else that was willing to take on this role that had capacity for it?
Yeah, well, I had nominated Clovis, but Clovis declined, and Layla declined. And I said I would be willing to do it if nobody else was willing to do it.
I would be willing to do it, but that would be will I be able to work with you, Commissioner Case, and our legal counsel, Mr. Bennett, on these items?
Sure.
Awesome. Okay. In that case, I'd be willing to be chair for this committee.
Okay.
And I want to add to that also that you also have access to staff, and I'm sure everyone on the committee would be more than happy to assist you.
Well, and something that I would ask of Charmaine, or maybe, because I think all of the procedures that Dennis drafted I'm not Dennis, Dwayne.
I was wondering who that
That's the
Dennis
other
was.
meeting. That's
The
the other
Dwayne
meeting.
drafted,
Dwayne
Uh,
Dennis.
I
Commissioner-
keep, I was just gonna say, make my point, don't let you take over. It would be good for this committee to have them as Word documents so that we can work on editing them as we go through.
Right. They should, Doug, they should all be to you in Word documents. So I sent them to Charmaine. I believe, Charmaine, they should be in all Word documents.
Okay, they may well be. So that's even better. Okay, then Commissioner Rubio, why don't you take over? Well, I guess we probably should vote on whether we want Commissioner Rubio to be our chair.
Before we go ahead and do that, I'd just like to propose that since we're both going to be, sounds like we're going to be working on this, how does it sound, Commissioner Case, if we serve as co-chairs for this committee?
That would be fine. I'd be willing to do that.
Okay, me too. Alrighty.
Okay,
Okay.
and since we don't really have anybody co-chairing yet, I'll take the initiative and call for a vote of having me and Commissioner Rubio be co-chairs of the committee.
I second the motion.
Okay. All those in favor, I guess, raise your hand electronically or in person. I don't know where my hand raising goes since I'm sharing my screen. So I'll just raise my hand.
Come.
Okay, and it looks like Commissioner Honore. Oh,
Yeah, I'm good.
you're raising your hand because you're voting. Okay. Okay, so it
I'm,
sounds,
I'm good with it.
okay, so let's decide what we want to go and do tonight. Did everybody get the email from Dwayne that lists all of the ones that are asterisks, the ones that he drafted?
You're gonna have to lose last names. There's two Dwaynes on this call.
Okay.
You can
Dwayne
assume
Bennett.
it's Dwayne Bennett.
Okay, yeah, so
Bennett.
Council
Dwayne
Bennett.
Bennett.
Oh, I see there's two Dwaynes. Okay. I didn't even think about that. Sorry about that. That our council, Dwayne, our council, Mr. Bennett drafted.
I did get them. I
Okay.
do have them.
Did anybody not get them?
Is that something that was just sent? Because I didn't get any, you guys didn't have my proper email, so I didn't get anything.
Okay, then, well, I'm gonna send this updated revised list of procedures to Charmaine after the meeting. And then if I can ask Charmaine to just send everybody a list of all of, well, the revised list of procedures. And I added the ones that Commissioner Aziz suggested, and have her send that list and the drafts prepared by Mr. Bennett as Word documents to all of the members. And something that I think before you got on, Commissioner Rubio, is that Mr. Bennett reminded us, or reminded me, that we had decided before we completed the investigation procedures that we would allow our new chief investigator, who starts on Monday. Is that right, Charmaine?
It starts on Tuesday.
On Tuesday. We would give her a chance to look that over, since she will be administering that. And I'm sure it'll probably take her a while to get established and do that. So even though I think that's one of the ones that should be part of the first package we send to the city council, we probably ought to put it on hold for at least a few weeks to give her a chance to do that.
Which one was that, Doug?
It is the second one on the list, investigation.
Okay, can I make a recommendation really quick?
Sure.
Can we start with the CPRA, the Public Records Act, because that one seems pretty easy? to get through?
Right.
Or how do you guys want to start
I-
tackling this?
Well,
can
I
say
was
something?
suggesting the
Oh,
ones that are, as Dwayne said, are that are kind of essential. I mean, Mr. Bennett says that are kind of essential to our business, which would be the investigations, the case review, and the review of discipline.
hey, so Doug, can I just make a suggestion? Because I think Commissioner Aziz, I like that. I mean, just so that you all, when you look at this list, it can look daunting. But if you all would not mind taking a look at the Public Records Act, the subpoena and the picture stuff, just look at it. I mean, because it may not make a lot of sense to you. It'll make more sense to your general counsel when they get here. And then for Charmaine, in terms of Public Records Act issues, but you all could tick those off real quickly, I think. I think when you look at them, I mean, you may have questions. If you have questions, I'll be happy to address those questions, but you might want to just get those done and then stick them in a folder somewhere as if they're ready, and present them to the commission as if they're ready to go.
I like that a
just a
lot.
thought. So that you can get rid of 3 of them right quickly.
I like that a lot. I think we should put, if we can start with the Commission on Police Practices, public records request, I would be okay with that. Chairs, what do you guys think?
Yeah, where is that on the
Okay,
list?
so the Public Records Act, it's certainly a procedure. I don't know where it is on your list, Doug. And then the pictures is number 10, and subpoenas is 12. So 10, 12, and wherever you have Public Records Act request.
Yeah.
It might
I
not
don't see
be
it on
there.
the list. Maybe we need to add it.
Okay, that's one that's done.
It's
So
on,
if you,
it's
It's
in
what?
12. It's in 12.
It's in 12.
12.
Oh, yeah, you're
Oh,
it's-
okay, yeah.
yeah, disclosure of CPP records.
Yeah, Doug. So that's that's
And
not
is that already
subpoena.
done?
It's a separate procedure. It's separate than the subpoena procedure.
Okay, because so you only did looking at 12, did you do 12A and B or just 12A?
Yeah, I did. All those are done, but they're just not under the subpoena procedure. So the subpoena procedure is its own separate procedure. You know, the commission will be subpoenaed, and the commission can issue subpoenas. So that's under one separate procedure. The interview process for city employees, for example, would be under actually the investigations procedure, as well as notices and under some of those. And then the Public Records Act, number B, your subsection B is its own separate procedure.
Okay, and so the interview process of city employees, that's part of the investigation procedures, right?
Right. I believe
Oh,
that's what you mean.
okay,
And then
yeah.
so that disclosure.
Okay, then I can just take this off and then we can
Yeah.
make
that would-
well,
13.
another thing we can do is we can have some of the members of this committee take ones that they're interested in. I'm gonna have to work on the spacing.
Right.
And because Dwayne Mr. Bennett has drafted all the legal ones, but some of the ones that are not as legal, we can do amongst ourselves.
And for example, the Public Records Act procedure is clear. It's just a Public Records Act. It's just a Public Records Act. I mean, it's nothing to it. I mean, there may be a typo, or maybe there's some verbiage in there you think could be a little bit clearer, but there really is nothing to it besides it is what the law is. So, I mean, that should be a clean procedure to get through. It certainly should not be controversial and meet and confer.
Okay,
And neither of those. The pitches procedure shouldn't be controversial. Subpoena procedure won't be controversial, and for sure, the Public Records Act procedure will not be controversial.
I agree. That's why I saw the PRA. If we can just go through it. The only suggestions were adding, I know you kept names and things for us to figure out who should this be directed to, what email this should be directed to, and also including the website, because the city of San Diego, which is our jurisdiction, has a website for public records requests, and that the CPP is a drop down that you can select, or if they see it, we fit under that request, they will forward it to a person. And of course, I'm thinking that person will be the executive director,
Right.
or
Right.
the executive director staff that the executive director says should be dealing with that.
so Layla, do you want to take the lead on drafting that procedure?
Well, it's already drafted. I can just add those. He just left those blank for us to put those in.
Right, can you, Commissioner, and then as you all go through these, now look, can I say one other thing? I'm not gonna be able to come to all the meetings, and particularly those, if you all continue them at 7 o'clock on Friday nights, I can guarantee you I won't be doing this. But I mean, I cannot do this. But if as you go through them, what helped when we were drafting them, and I thought it worked really well, was as whoever's taking the lead, you do your strikeout, or if you just take it or something like that and get the comments back, and let's look at them and make sure everything fits in good. We'll modify the document and you all be good to go.
The important ones, what is our due date that we want to get these done by?
That's a really good question. I think if we can get the first package, which includes the things I just talked about, to the city council by the end of November, which means we have to get it to the commission first, that would be good. And I see that Commissioner Honore and one other person has his hand raised. So I'm not sure whether he's still.
Which other person? The
Uh,
other person.
That's Commissioner
That's
Aziz
Layla.
is speaking. So
Yeah.
let me answer her question, and then we can go to Commissioner Honore. And so it actually may be a little aggressive to get it done, but I think since a lot of the work has been done, that we ought to maybe aim for the end of November to have the commission vote on the first package of procedures to send to the city council. Does that sound reasonable?
What was the date you're preferring for that?
The end of November. I didn't particular date.
To get it to the city council
No, yeah, well, yeah, to have the commission vote on it, to vote to send it to the city council.
before the end of November.
Right.
And that will be all of the procedures?
No, the package of procedures that are the most important, which would be investigations, discipline, complaints, and case review. And we could also add some of the others, part of that package that have already been done.
So commissioners, can I just say one thing? I think that's aggressive.
Okay.
And I think that's going to be too aggressive, because it has not only you all have to take a shot at these, it has to go back and be explained to the commission. And we are just, maybe the goal should be by the end of the year. I mean, with holidays in there, et cetera, it's just going to be a little lengthy. So that's just my 2 cents. Of course, I don't have a vote. You all are in charge. So
No, I think you're probably right. I think we're just all anxious to get going. They're probably, is by the end of the year. Sound okay with everybody? And given the holidays, it may mean that the commission has to vote on them and send them to the city council at our first meeting in January.
I will respond and say, I think that's fine if you all think fine, and I'm still a little vague on what processes and procedures we need to go through to get to where we're trying to get to, and what kind of time commitment and volume of information we need to process to make that happen. But if you all, as previous member on the CRB, the interim CPP, our outside counsel, are confident that we can get this done by the end of the year, I'm amenable to that. But I have several other items while we're going through so many concepts. First, I understand this meeting is scheduled for 1 hour, within which we have about 9 minutes left. Are we going to try to wrap this up in 9 minutes, or is there stuff we want to do and we're going to go past that? That's the first question.
That's a good point. It is a Saturday. It is a Friday night. I think maybe we got to try to get it done close to an hour. I think we need to decide on a future meeting time, and then maybe we can have the 2 co-chairs meet and kind of develop a game plan for our future meetings. Does that sound okay with you, Commissioner Rubio?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so I would suggest that that we see if we can pick a time to meet, and I think everybody's here, so we can maybe pick a time that generally works for people. pick a time for our next meeting, and then have, between now and the next meeting, have the two co-chairs meet and kind of develop a work plan so that we have kind of an organized way of approaching this to present next time. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes.
That's fine.
Okay,
Yes.
and so now comes the fun part of picking a time when everybody is free. Do people, let me try broad questions. Do people prefer meeting in the evening,
No.
during the workday, or on weekends? And I'll call on people if they don't respond. Well, I guess we need to find Commissioner Rubio, since she's going to be co-chairing.
This is the fun part.
You're muted.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference?
I'll just let y'all know that if anything, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., like those 2 hours from 11, 12, like to 1, those are the hours I for sure cannot do.
Okay.
So like in the early morning or late afternoon, that's a good time. But it depends on the day. So if I'm flexible.
Okay. Are you available on evenings and weekends if necessary?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Harvey.
Mondays are meetings with training, so Monday would be not a good day for me because we have our training meetings then. On
What do you prefer during the day, in the evenings, or on weekends? Then we can pick a day after we decide that.
it would be, and again, that depends on the day. Evenings is best for me, I guess, because there are some days like Tuesday and Thursdays,
Right.
I'm clear all day, but evenings are good. Or if you guys got to go daytime, it would have to be Tuesdays or Thursdays. Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday for me.
Okay.
During the day.
And then Commissioner Honore.
Yeah, I think my schedule pretty much follows around Commissioner Harvey's schedule. I would prefer evenings, but I would need to look at which evenings.
Okay.
Some evenings, a lot of evenings are already taken. There's like 20 evenings every month, and in my calendar, about 10 of those are already taken. So,
Are people available in the early evening, like I'm talking about maybe 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock?
some days, yes.
Because
What I will do, I think, to facilitate whatever time frame you all are looking at, I will share with you what I have available with respect to the time frames you give. If you want to do evenings, I'll let you know what evenings. If you want to do mornings, which I actually prefer, I can tell you which mornings. I have a regular 9 to 5 job Monday through Friday, and I do a lot of stuff on the weekends too. So for my job, but I'm flexible because I made sure everybody knew that if I was going to apply for this commission, that there would have to be sacrifices everywhere. So
okay.
whatever works best for you all, I'll let you know what my best availability is for works best for you all. And then we'll find a way to make it work.
Okay. Then let's ask Commissioner Aziz, what's your general availability? She's still here?
She is still with us. Her hand is still up.
Oh, you're
She's
muted.
on mute. So if you're speaking at Commissioner Aziz, we can't hear you because you're muted.
Did she get disconnected?
No, she's still here, but she has her hand raised, but she is muted.
Let me lower it and see what happens. Asking to unmute.
So Clovis, you said you're available in the early mornings?
I will make adjustments to early mornings. That way I'll have the rest of the day to make up hours.
Okay. Well, would,
And same
would,
thing for evening.
would early afternoons, like 5 o'clock, work better for you?
Sometimes, yes. So whichever you choose, let me know and I'll let you know what mornings I can't do and what
Okay.
late early afternoons I can't do.
Okay. Well, is there anybody who can't do 5 o'clock meetings?
For for me, I just want to say like 5:30 Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. After 5:30 Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays would work well.
After 5:30, okay.
So maybe 6?
Yeah, it kind of depends on,
Sorry, or like at 5:30 would be a good time because I already accounted for whatever I need before that. So if we were to start meetings at 5:30 Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, that would be a good time frame for on my end.
okay. How about other people at 5:30? 5:30 would be better for me too, because I have a lot of evening meetings, but if we're doing them virtually and we can do it, if we can keep them to an hour, then that would usually work better for me.
5:30 Wednesdays are good for me. 5:30 Fridays are somewhat
So
good.
that's
but
good for me.
Yeah, 5:30 Wednesdays.
Okay, 5:30 Wednesday. Is Commissioner Aziz? I wonder. I don't know whether she can hear us or not. She's on, but she's muted.
Here we have 1 minute.
Okay, then should we go with 5:30 on Wednesdays?
Yes.
Okay, and let me quickly check my calendar for next Wednesday to make sure I don't have anything. Well, how often do you want to meet? Do you want to meet weekly or maybe every other week? Oops, let me stop sharing. I don't want everybody to see my calendar.
Maybe every other week.
Okay, every other week.
I agree.
And so maybe meet 2 weeks from, so not next week, but the following week.
October 11th.
Okay. No, October 11th is on a Saturday.
Mine
No,
is on a Wednesday.
Oh, I'm looking at the calendar, but I didn't click on it. And so I'm looking at September. And so let me see. Okay, it looks like October 11th is free on my calendar. So I think if we do 5:30 on Wednesday, October the 11th, we have a plan. And in the meantime, I'll set up a meeting with Commissioner Rubio next week for us to work on a game plan to propose to everybody on the 11th. And I also will maybe touch base with our chief investigator once she gets settled in, to let her know we will need her assistance in reviewing the investigation procedures.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, and so it is 8:01 on a Friday night. Is there any objection to us adjourning?
I object.
Okay, then everybody gets to leave except for Charmaine, who gets to stay on.
Have a
Let
great
us know how it goes, Charmaine.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good
Good night.
Blessing.